embracing the night. The moon glowed softly through the drifting clouds of late spring. The earthy sense of damp soil and newly bloomed flowers mixed together in the cool air, stirring a sense of thrill in Ronan's gut. Tonight marked the night he would step into manhood. As the anticipation danced in his veins, a wide grin broke across his face. His sneakers squelched slightly in the mud as he reached the fork in the fading road, where the last remnants of rain had turned the ground into a saturated patchwork of mud and grass. Every brush of the gentle wind whispered promises carried by the jasmine and wild mint, igniting a spark inside of him. With the kind of exuberance only youth can muster, Ronan launched himself from one side of the muddy split to the other. The first few feet held their ground, but just past the weathered oak that marked the town's boundary, the land began to crumble into uneven mounds. He leaped over them, maneuvering like a dancer skipping across a streambed. His dark hair swayed behind him, shimmering under the starlit sky. If anyone had been watching, they would have marveled at his joyous spirit, but the night was for him alone. The last stretch, nearly 10 feet wide, separated him from the path that led to his family's home, perched delicately on the edge of the seaside cliffs. Exhaling deeply, he took a running leap, momentarily defying gravity as he reached for solid ground. The exhilaration of soaring propelled him forward, his laughter echoing through the darkness when he landed in a heap, rolling through the damp earth. He hooted playfully at the gnarled trees and lavender bushes that lined the trail before rising to brush off the mud splatters, his solitary celebration witnessed only by the moon. As he stepped through the door, the comforting aroma of freshly baked soda bread wafted through the air. The unique mixture of stone and timber in their home enveloped him with warmth. "Oh, Ronan! What happened to your shoes?" his mother, Maeve, exclaimed from the kitchen. "I just ruined them is what you did," she interrupted, hands on her hips. "No, Mom, I just ruined them." Ronan's younger sister Kira chimed in, her laughter bubbling up. "Yeah, Ronan. Way to go," added Finn, the youngest brother. The mischievous rhythm of a sing-song chant filled the air. "Yeah. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it." Maeve sighed, rolling her eyes while she grabbed a damp cloth. Ronan shrugged, tossing his shoes aside. His father, Killian, sat at the table, sipping tea. "Are you ready for the ceremony tonight, lad?" he asked, a knowing smile on his face. Ronan's heart raced. "Yes, Dad." "Good. Now go wash up and get a fresh pair of shoes. We'll leave when the moon is just high enough. There's time for some bread first." Ronan hardly tasted his meal, excitement bubbling inside him. This would be the last time he enjoyed a meal as a boy. Soon, he'd embrace the responsibilities and rights of manhood. When it was time, he grabbed a pair of polished shoes, their dark hue matching the rich tones of the night, and dashed out once more. Raindrops began to patter down as he, along with his parents, made their way to the designated meeting spot. Killian and Maeve shared a heavy wooden crate between them as Ronan led the way, a lantern glowing in his hand. They trekked west for a mile and then veered north another half-mile, reaching a valley cradled between vibrant forests and majestic mountains. From the tree-line, the gathering mounds emerged like gentle hills stretching across the landscape. Approaching the center, Ronan's lantern flickered across stones, their shapes revealed in the dim glow, whispering tales of those who rested beneath. Despite the rain soaking through his shoes, Ronan pressed forward until they reached the circle where several figures awaited. "The O'Hallorans have arrived," called out Eamon, stationed on the center left. The town's wise storyteller, he was known for his methodical knowledge of the old traditions. Ronan was still unsure how his melodic chanting led to this moment. "Lara! Prepare Ronan for the ceremony." "Right." Lara, Eamon's daughter who had turned mere days before, stepped forward. Almost a foot taller than Ronan, her confidence radiated, illuminating him even in her quiet demeanor. "Give him a hand, will you?" Eamon encouraged, chuckling. Ronan grasped the other side of the crate, heavy with expectation. They moved toward the rocky outcrops of the mountain, the anticipation palpable. "Signal us when it's time, all right?" Eamon shouted as they walked in tandem, silence hanging in the cool air. Ronan glanced at Lara, her auburn hair catching the dim light. He remembered watching her carry herself with newfound grace since her turning. "What do they teach you for the ceremony?" he asked, breaking the silence. Lara looked ahead. It's supposed to be a way for us to step forward into adulthood. Is that all? Ronan felt a shiver run through him as the rain soaked through the fabric of his shirt. Seems that way, she replied, her voice firmer than Ronan expected. It's supposed to be more about the experience. Well, it definitely feels like an experience. They approached a cave illuminated by flickering torchlight, where a warm hearth crackled invitingly. Take off your damp layer, Lara instructed, motioning to the chest nearby, and change into these. She opened the crate, revealing a vibrant tunic and soft cloak. What do you mean? He asked, curiosity flickering in his chest. Put them on, we don't have forever. With her back turned for a moment, Ronan began to change, suddenly conscious of their proximity and the vulnerability of the moment. He could feel heat rising to his cheeks, an uninvited response. What had begun as a simple ritual now felt charged. Anything about the ceremony? He asked, desperate to dispel the unease. Just what my cousin said, Lara replied, her voice steady. And? They said it made them feel powerful, she said softly, still avoiding his gaze. Powerful? Ronan echoed. She nodded, her auburn curls dancing in the glow of the fire. My sister literally jumped up and laughed. Well, that's nice. He slipped into the tunic, which felt both strange and empowering. He glanced up to see Lara's hands now outstretched with a dazzling container of glittery powder. What's that for? He asked, eyes wide. It's for the final touch, she replied, looking sheepish. Ronan chuckled, well, take your time. The playful banter lightened the mood as Lara brushed the sparkles across his cheeks. You, surprised me earlier at the oak, Lara confessed, an unexpected shyness in her tone. Surprised you? Yeah, I saw you leap over the gap, like, really nailed it. Oh, that? Ronan felt pride swell within him, I've been working at it for ages. Must have been worth it, it looked incredible. Laughter bubbled up between them, softening the cool tension that lingered moments prior. It's almost time, Lara said suddenly, making her way to the cave entrance. She called out, cupping her hands before turning to him with intensity. Just feel it, okay? All right, he replied, a tremor of uncertainty hidden beneath his eagerness. Lara stepped outside and let out a resonant howl, her voice a melodic echo through the darkness. Soon, united howls surged back in response. Moments later, Ronan's family and Lara's family gathered outside the cave, their faces glowing with anticipation. They formed a line that channeled a path toward the moonlight. Scathach, Lara's mother, stood at the forefront, their protective patriarch presiding over them. Navigating deeper into the cave, the air shifted, thick with the energy of the collective families. It was eerily dark save for the flickering of torches as they passed and finally reached the grand cavern where the moonlight streamed down from above. The rain had ceased, leaving a clear night. One by one, family members stepped forward into the circle of light. It was Ronan's turn now, propelled forward with a purpose he couldn't quite grasp. He was trembling, heart pounding wildly as he found himself at the heart of the circle. Ronan O'Halloran, son of Killian O'Halloran and Maeve O'Halloran. Tonight, you take your place as guardian of the realm, stepping into the light of truth. Our ancestors walked the paths between worlds, and now you shall, too. Step forward into the moonlight, step into your destiny, and become your truest self. Ronan inhaled deeply, words swirling around him, lifting him as he crossed into the moonbeam. Every muscle in his body felt alive, yet heavy, as his breath caught in his throat. Yes, he finally managed, and the moment he spoke, the change began. As the call of his family filled the air, Ronan felt the surge of energy fill him, the ancient spell casting a warm glow around them. He fell to his knees, heart racing while sharp instincts coursed through him. He howled, an otherworldly sound escaping him, it echoed in harmony with the chorus surrounding him. Where there once was a boy stood now a creature of nature, gazing up to the moon as fur overtook his skin. The unity of voices blended, a melding of familial love, anticipation, and pride. The world shifted, Ronan's senses heightened. The scents, sounds, everything was vivid. Lara stepped closer, her auburn fur glistening beside him, and he could pick out threads of emotion woven in the air. The outpouring of howls grew louder. His heart raced as he too lifted his head proudly. Overlapping howls, a storm of excitement enveloped them as each member transformed, one by one, stepping into their shared identity and pride as guardians. Finally, with newfound strength, Ronan stood upright, reveling in the power coursing through his limbs. Lara brushed against him, and together, they dashed out into the valley. The landscape transformed beneath his paws, sensing every rock, every sound, every scent. They were now a part of it all. They raced beneath the stars, traversing through the lush foliage of the forest. Ronan led, feeling free, a connection to everything alive around him. Behind, his family's voices melded together, affirming their unity. As they bounded into the night, exhilaration surged through him. They were now one, guardians of a bond, a family, a story rich with celebration and love. He exchanged a glance with Lara, who kept pace beside him, her spirit shining brightly in their collective journey. This path stretched before him, a promise of myriad adventures and a vibrant life. The moonlit sky winked approvingly above, and as he sprinted forward, Ronan knew nothing would ever be the same, yet that felt precisely right. It was a beginning, an embrace of the night. As Ronan and Lara tore through the underbrush, laughter echoed in the night air. Every leap through the trees felt electric, and with every twist and turn, they grew closer as not just packmates but as friends discovering something deeper. The rich earth cradled them as they darted over mossy stones and around gnarled roots, their athletic forms an embodiment of the unity they shared. The thrill of the chase propelled them onward. The towering trees arched overhead, their leaves whispering secrets of ancient rituals and unfathomable wisdom. Ronan felt the exhilaration coursing through him, a beat synchronized with the thrum of the earth beneath his paws. "Let's race to the waterfall," Lara called out, her voice weaving through the rush of the wind. Ronan let out a playful yip of agreement. In a heartbeat, they surged forward, sprinting towards the sound of cascading water that could be heard in the distance. With each bound, it felt as if the very air sang with joy. His heart swelled, and he could hardly contain his excitement. They tore through the thicket, darting past starlit glades, the moon casting a silvery path guiding them. With the thrill of the race, Ronan could feel adrenaline quicken his steps, and the rhythmic beat of their paws seemed to create a melodious overture under the night sky. And then, they burst through the final line of trees. Before them lay the waterfall, a stunning cascade of glimmering silver veiling itself over the rocks into a crystal-clear pool below. The sight was breathtaking, the moonlight reflected in the water, creating a dance of shimmering light that intertwined with the shadows around them. Ronan skidded to a halt, urging himself to catch his breath. Lara sidled up next to him, her fur glistening like fire under the moon's gaze. "We made it," she exclaimed, a joyous howl erupting from her throat. Ronan mirrored her excitement, joining in a chorus that harmonized with the roar of the waterfall. They both pranced closer, aggressive splashes erupting as they playfully tumbled into the shallows, drenching themselves in the coolness of the water. Amid the laughter, a sense of tranquility enveloped Ronan. They were no longer just two beings from the same town, they had traversed beyond the ordinary. The depths of the night opened around them, inviting whispers of the land's ancient truths. After their playfulness cooled into a quiet calm, Ronan found himself sitting beside Lara on the edge of the pool. The waterfall tumbled nearby, softening the world around them, pulling them into intimacy with the elements. He glanced sideways at Lara, who was staring out over the glimmering surface of the water. "There's something magical about being out here like this," he mused. "It's like we're connected to everything." Lara turned to him, her amber eyes bright under the moon. "I've never felt this before, not until tonight," she replied softly. "It's like the land has opened itself to us." A sharing silence between them unfolded, an unspoken acknowledgement of what was happening. Ronan sensed a heartbeat in the air, a connection that felt more profound than mere friendship. But before he could say anything, the moment slipped away when a howl ruptured the tranquil night. "Hey, we're over here." Eamon's voice called out from the tree-line, weaving through the underbrush. Soon, the rest of their pack emerged, transformed into their wolf forms, their spirits vibrant under the veil of stars. "Join us," Ronan called, unable to contain the bubbling enthusiasm coursing through him. The pack gathered around, playfully splashing in the shallows, their howls harmonizing with echoes of the waterfall. Ronan ducked and darted, weaving between the towering figures of his family and friends. They all moved like a seamless unit, reveling in the freedom the night offered. As the moon slipped higher in the sky, Ronan felt the weight of responsibility overshadow their play. He remembered Aemon's words at the cave, that they now bore the mantle of guardianship with deep ties to the land. The ideals of brotherhood, of protecting the existence around them, formed a shared bond, a powerful call deeper than the rush of the moment. "Let's not just celebrate the transformation," Ronan bellowed, his voice rising above the chatter. "Let's commit to each other and the earth tonight." Lara's gaze met his, a broad smile illuminating her face. There was beauty in their unity, in their commitment to safeguard their home and each other. The pack fell silent, a hushed anticipation hanging in the air. "We protect this land," Aemon began, stepping forward and raising his head high, "for those who came before us, and for those who will come after. Together, as a pack, we stand." One by one, each wolf stepped forward and echoed his sentiment, a thunderous chorus ringing in the night. Ronan felt power surge through him as he joined in solidarity, their voices intertwining like roots nourished by the ancient soil. As the night deepened, they returned to the clearing where the mounds rose, honoring their ancestors. Each howl resonated like a promise lingering in the wind, a vow to protect, to cherish, and to uphold the legacy of their kin. With renewed spirit, Ronan glanced at Lara beside him, their eyes shimmered with understanding and resolve. Tonight was not merely an entrance into adulthood, it was an initiation into a life of duty, joy, and profound connection to one another and the land they called home. As the stars twinkled above, casting shapes in the darkness, he felt a sense of belonging bloom within him, a tether to the night, to Lara, to his family, and to the earth itself. They were not alone, they were part of something much bigger. And with that thought echoing through his mind, Ronan knew he would lead them into this new chapter, side by side with Lara, and a promise unbroken. Together, they would embrace the night and all the adventures it promised to bring. As the full weight of their commitment settled in, Ronan felt an urgency swell within him. The night was alive, electric with possibilities. He turned toward his pack, now gathered in a circle, their connection palpable and unbreakable. "Let's explore the boundaries of our territory," he suggested, an idea blossoming in his mind. "It's the perfect night to establish where we belong and what we will protect." Excitement sparked amongst the group, tails wagging and ears perked up as they looked to Aemon for guidance. Ronan could sense the old storyteller's wisdom igniting a sense of adventure in the air. Aemon nodded thoughtfully, breaking into a grin. "An excellent idea, young one. Let us traverse the edges of the windswept meadows and the thick woods beyond the mountains. Today marks your turning, and it's right to celebrate not just among each other, but also with the land itself." With a collective howl, the pack set off into the night, their movements fluid and harmonious. Ronan felt invigorated with each stride, the crisp air whipping past them as the moon bathed everything in a soft glow. They dashed across open fields, leaping over the wildflowers that bowed under their weight. Each leap brought clarity and strength, a reaffirmation of their newfound identities. Lara stayed close by his side, her presence igniting an unspoken connection. They matched each other's pace, darting forward as one, slipping through the tendrils of tall grass and dancing shadows. The whispers of the wind sang around them, enticing them deeper into the wild. As they approached the edge of the forest, the trees stood tall like ancient sentinels, their canopies interlacing and forming a protective veil against the night sky. Ronan halted, gazing upwards, the massive trunks commanding respect and wonder. "Remember," Aemon called, his voice carrying calm authority, "these woods hold many secrets. Every creature you encounter is part of our story. Approach with respect, and you will find friendship in unexpected places." They entered the forest, shadows wrapping around them like a comforting cloak. The ground was alive with sound, the rustle of leaves, the scuttling of small creatures, and the melodies of the night. As they ventured deeper, Ronan's senses heightened, every snap of a twig and rustle of the underbrush revealing new insights into the world he had long been a part of, but now viewed with fresh eyes. Suddenly, a figure darted through the underbrush ahead of them, a black shape weaving in and out of the trees. Ronan instinctively crouched low, signaling the rest of the pack to halt. It was a lynx, sleek and wary, its golden eyes glinting like jewels in the dim light. Ronan's heart raced with excitement. Here was a creature of the forest, steeped in mystery and wisdom. Lara edged closer, her eyes fixed on the lynx, a silent yearning in her expression. "Do you think it can feel what we do?" she whispered. Ronan shrugged, his eyes still on the lynx. Maybe it knows we've changed. Maybe it senses our bond. As if sensing their watchful gazes, the lynx paused, turning to look right at them. For a moment, time stood still. In that brief exchange, Ronan felt a connection, a moment of understanding. Then the lynx turned and dashed off into the darkness, weaving between the trees, leaving behind nothing but the faintest rustle in its wake. That was incredible, Ronan breathed, shaking off the enchantment of the encounter and glancing at Lara, whose eyes shimmered with excitement. It felt like a blessing, she replied, her voice barely more than a whisper. Emboldened by their meeting with the lynx, the pack moved onward through the woods, weaving a tapestry of friendship and discovery. They scaled small hills and delved into hidden glades, uncovering clearings lit by moonbeams that sparkled like diamonds scattered across the earth. Each exploration deepened Ronan's sense of responsibility, every sight and every sound binding him closer to the world around him. After what felt like hours of adventure, they arrived at a small ledge overlooking a shimmering lake. The water mirrored the moon, creating a soft silver blanket that shimmered beneath the stars. The beauty of the scene filled Ronan with awe. Before we head home, he suggested, his mind racing with excitement, let's celebrate our first night as guardians here. With agreement echoing in the howls and playful barks, the pack gathered around the water's edge. They shared stories of their pasts, tales of laughter and hardship, and in doing so, cemented their bond. Each experience recounted became threadwork in the rich tapestry of their new lives. As their stories filled the air, laughter mingled with the night sounds, a sharing of joys and heartfelt revelations. Ronan felt gratitude swell within him. He had never fully understood the depths of connection they would share until tonight. Here, against the backdrop of the lake and the vast cosmos above, every pack member glowed with purpose and spirit. We will protect this place, Ronan declared, holding his head high. Let it always remind us of who we are and what we strive to be. We are guardians of this land, and tonight is just the beginning. The pack erupted into a chorus of yips and howls, their voices ringing with affirmation as the moon shone down like a proud parent. The world felt alive around them, energizing each member with a collective heartbeat. Together, they stood united, beneath the stars and expansive sky, their packs solidified, intertwining their destinies with the land they cherished. In that moment, Ronan knew he had not only stepped into adulthood but had also become part of a legacy far greater than himself. As the night carried on, they spent time at the water's edge, entrenched in the camaraderie that would shape their future. Memories of this moment would follow them, lighting the path ahead as together they embraced the beauty of their newfound spirits and responsibilities. With the moon hanging high, they knew adventure awaited just beyond the horizon, waiting for them to explore, to protect, and to live freely under the watchful gaze of the night. And for Ronan, there was nowhere else he would rather be than alongside Lara, and the pack he could now call family. As dawn approached, the night began to retreat, yielding to the soft hues of twilight. The silvery blanket over the lake surrendered to warm golds and pinks, signaling the end of their first night as guardians. Ronan's heart swelled with memories of the laughter, the stories, and the deep connections forged under the moonlight. As the sun began to rise, it cast a golden glow upon the pack, illuminating their joyful faces. Let's make a pact, Eamon said thoughtfully, standing at the water's edge. Every month, when the full moon rises, we gather here to remember not just our transformations but also our promise to protect this land and one another. A chorus of agreement echoed through the group. Ronan felt a rush of affection for the pack. These were his family now, bound not just by blood but by their shared experiences and purpose. Yes, Lara added, her eyes sparkling. Let's make this our sacred night. The night of the turning. With newfound energy, they began to discuss plans for their first gathering. Where they would feast, how they would share their stories, and the songs they would sing under the watchful moonlight. The excitement was tangible, a promise that ignited their spirits as brightly as the sun rising above the horizon. They spent the early morning hours basking in the golden glow, wandering the banks of the lake, exploring its mysteries. Ronan caught a glimpse of fish leaping playfully from the water, their scales sparkling like jewels. He laughed along with Lara as they splashed each other, the cool water invigorating their transformation from night to day. As they drew nearer to the forest's edge, Ronan's heart quickened at the thought of the responsibilities they now held. They were more than just individuals, they were a pack, protectors of their home. Remember, Eamon said, urging them to pay close attention as they walked among the growth. Today, we seek signs. Is there anything that calls to you, anything that feels important for our pact? Ronan looked around, taking in the sights and sounds of the waking forest. The whispering leaves and the gentle rustle of branches spoke to him. He crouched low, resting his hands against the earth. Here, he felt the heartbeat of the land beneath his fingers, resonating with each pulse of life surrounding them. Suddenly, he saw it, a delicate flower peeking through the damp soil, bright blue against the browns and greens. It swayed gently in the breeze, a symbol of resilience. Ronan turned to his packmates, excitement igniting in his chest. "Look," he exclaimed, drawing their attention. "This flower, it's like a beacon. It reminds us of our journey. No matter how tough the ground, something beautiful can still emerge." Lara stepped forward to examine the flower, her brow arching in appreciation. "It really does capture everything we've experienced. We can make this our symbol, a reminder of who we are and where we've come from." "Agreed," Eamon said, his voice full of pride. "Each of you should choose a sign of your own, a token of your bond with this land and each other." Excitedly, the group fanned out, searching for their own symbols across the forest. They encountered shimmering stones, vibrant leaves, and unique twigs, each one telling a story, each one a footprint of their journey. Ronan picked up a smooth, rounded stone flecked with sparkling quartz. Holding it in the light, he smiled, envisioning how the sun would reflect off of it, just as their shared experiences would reflect their kinship. "I'll bring this back home," he said, clutching the stone tightly. It felt warm against his palm, resonating with energy and purpose. As they regrouped, a sense of excitement surged through them, the anticipation of sharing what they had discovered brimming in the air. One by one, they shared their chosen tokens, recounting their significance and the stories that accompanied them. Lara produced a feather, delicately spiraled and soft, explaining it symbolized freedom and the spirit of exploration. Finn had found a twisted branch that resembled a heart, sharing how it reminded him of the love binding their pack. Even Kira presented a small acorn, its potential brimming with life, the promise of strength and growth. When they finished, Ronan felt invigorated. These tokens were not just objects, they were tangible pieces of themselves, woven together like threads in a tapestry. Eamon suggested they create a central place to keep these symbols. Each full moon, they would gather and celebrate not only their bond but offer thanks to the earth for its gifts. With renewed purpose, they made their way back to the lake, where they carefully placed their chosen tokens in a small alcove beneath a budding tree that leaned toward the water. As they positioned each one, a sense of peace settled around them, affirming their commitment to the land and to one another. As the sun began its ascent, casting a warm embrace upon the earth, the pack of wolves stood together, side by side, in silent camaraderie. The harmonious melodies of birds welcoming the morning enveloped them like a warm blanket. "Let's howl for our new promises," Ronan shouted, adrenaline pulsing through him. They lifted their heads in unison, howls erupting as one, a celebration of life, friendship, and a future bright with possibility. The sound carried through the trees, melding with the songs of the forest, echoing their vows to protect and nurture. One last time, they gazed at the tokens, immersed in the beauty of the moment. This was their turning point, their commitment, a future woven together by shared adventures, joyous laughter, and the enduring spirit of kinship. With anticipation swelling inside, Ronan knew deep down, above all else, that they would guide each other through whatever lay ahead, each day a new opportunity for growth and exploration, together. As they turned to begin their voyage home, the sun warming their backs, the vibrant hues of the morning sky brightened the path they would walk as a united pack. The adventures awaited them, and Ronan couldn't help but feel that this was just the beginning of something extraordinary.